Hello, everyone. Welcome to Five Writers, 5 Minutes. My name's Annie Louise.
I'm Sarah Armstrong.
I'm Leanne Tanner.
I'm Deborah Abella.
And I'm Maryam Master.
And as you can hear, we have a special guest today, Maryam Master, who is a screenwriter, scriptwriter, award-winning novelist of many wonderful books. Her latest book, Laughter is the Best Ending, which is out now, and it's an absolutely stunning book. So we're very lucky to have you here today.
Thanks for having me.
So we are going to talk today about creating a mindset for writing, or a good space for writing, I guess. This actually is a topic on request by one of our listeners. So I feel very important that we have a, topic suggested to us, but I do think it's a really good one. So how do you create this space? And I guess we are all professional writers. We do make a living out of this, and we are fortunate to have full-time hours we can dedicate to our writing. And I know that isn't everyone's experience. And if you're still at school, of course, you might not have that opportunity either. But how do you get to the page and create words when words need to be created? I think for me, well, we've talked about some of these things in the past, but I do actually create a physical space. So I like to separate myself from my normal environment, leave my phone in a different room, that kind of thing, those distractions. And I do find my little writing studio to be, quite conducive to creativity. I think I have to always exercise. So I try and, go out for a run, do my Pilates or whatever in the morning, because I find being physically fit helps me create a good mindset. I do find I'm a fairly brave person in the sense that I'm not scared of the blank page and I'm not scared of bad writing. So I'm just like, bring it on, I know I'm going to write something quite bad, probably or possibly, whatever, because it can be fixed, it can be changed. So I think entering with a mindset of adventure is, I think, quite a positive and helpful one I've found. I guess I'm not a perfectionist by nature. But, I find being able to be quite kind of carefree with the words and carefree with the story enables me to, just trial things out and know that often things won't remain the same. And we've all talked about that before as well. But stories can go through many iterations, and that is part of the process, and that is fine. How about you, Sarah? How do you get into a good mindset?
I think that the way I kind of stay alive with my creativity is to take the pressure off and play, to do some play with my writing. And often that means free writing. Or just kind of mucking around. And we've talked about free writing before, where there's just no expectation. I'm not writing for my project at hand, whatever that might be. I'm just writing to have fun and to have that joy of kind of sticking words together and see what they do, because I love that, just that feeling of putting words together and seeing what happens and seeing how it affects me when I read it back. So I think playfulness, and even when I'm in the middle of a project, sometimes I'll just sort of feel like I'm stepping aside or turning aside from the project, and I'll just do a totally free write just to kind of loosen everything up in my mind. I think that really, really helps me. Just reading, obviously, reading really keeps my creative juices sort of sparking, and reading broadly, whether it's poetry or nonfiction, scripts for that matter, screenplays, just reading anything. If I read something really fantastic, it inspires me. I think, how have they created that feeling in me just with these simple words? And it's inspiring. So that really works for me. I think just absorbing any great art of any sort, whether it's music or film or paint, visual art, I think that is inspiring for creativity, and sort of puts me in that mind of, this is a creative act, this thing I'm doing. And so, yeah, they're the two main things I would say. Absorb lots of other great art and just come back to the playfulness.
I love that.
Yeah, that playfulness, it lies at the heart of it, doesn't it? I agree. And also, Zanny, what you said, the adventurousness, the courage to kind of to throw yourself into something and to allow new ways of doing something. I also need lots of silence and lots of solitude to write. I know that some people can write some people have lists of songs that they write to, or they write in cafes and things like that. And I absolutely can't do that. Like I'm somebody who needs huge amounts of silence, huge amounts of solitude, and my creativity responds really well to those. And I think that's partly because those things also encourage me to daydream a lot, and daydreaming is so much at the heart of all this stuff, isn't it? That letting your mind wander in off to strange places. Also walking anywhere, but particularly walking in nature. And I think I've said this before, that Stanford University did a study quite a few years ago and found that walking increases creativity by something like 40%, which is really extraordinary. And that's just kind of like walking down the street, not even walking in nature. So I think what a lot of it comes back to, and Zanny, you mentioned about exercise, what a lot of it comes back to is living the way that works for you. So sleeping, eating, exercise, whatever it is that works for you to make you feel good is what is also going to work for maximizing your creativity, I guess. How about you, Deb?
Well, Leanne, I've just come back from a 200-kilometer walk. So by that
You must be
theory,
feeling so creative.
I should be pumping out novels like nobody's business, right? And in fact, what was lovely about the walk was I wasn't writing, because literally I was in my boots and I was trudging through mud. It was a very soggy walk. But I love this thing of, it's, you know, we can't just assume, well, a writer is just creative. They just sit at their desk and they just write, and that's what happens. And I love that this whole topic, you need to create that kind of creative mindset. You need to nurture it. You need to look after it. So I'm a big believer in walking, and I love it so much. But it's also about I love, Zanny, that you talked about you're not scared of bad writing. I think that's the big thing that is my sort of stumbling block, and I just think, oh, that idea is terrible, I'm not even going to play with it. And I know when I say that in my head, it's a silly thing to do. Yes, it's rubbish right now because it's just this flimsy little tiny idea. So the more that I write, the more that I read, the more that encourages me to be in that space and to feel more confident. And also I sometimes in that space forget to be worried about the bad sentence, because I'm just really excited about that character and what they just said to me or said to another character, or that scene that I've just gone, oh, that'll be fun. Remember the joy. So it's that playfulness that we've talked about, but also remember the joy. And there's this great quote, and I can't remember who wrote it now. It's in a book called The Mindful Writer. Their advice to all writers is just love the writing, love the writing, love the writing. That is it. And that's a quote that sits on my desk. So for those days when I don't have a creative mindset because I'm a little bit sort of anxious, or I'm a little bit sort of stymied by my sense of failure, I just go, nah, just love the writing. Remember why you fell in love with when that character popped into your head in the first place. Just trust that and hang out with them. So Marion, what do you do to create a creative mindset? Because I've heard you say before that you find writing really hard.
Yes. Well, I actually think writing and all creative arts is a spiritual practice as much as it is a practical thing. I mean, I love what you guys said too. I do all of those things. I think, walking, phenomenal. Showers are great for ideas, and consuming, books and movies and all of those things. But my daily practice of actually, when I sit down to write, a huge part of that is meditation and prayer.
Wow.
And I actually, because I believe that the source of all creativity is not actually from us, but comes through us. I think of all artists, all of us, as like a vessel. And so it's about, and meditation is this practice of kind of clearing your head of the rubbish, the stuff, the noise, so that whatever it is that you're skilled in, whatever it is that, the story that you're supposed to tell, can find its way. So it's sort of the clearing out of the spirit. And that's how I see it. And I saw an interview with, of all people, Michael Jackson years ago. And they asked him how he writes a song. And I found this answer to be so interesting. And he said, oh, I just have to get out of the way.
Yeah.
Right? He said, if I'm in my head, or, like, you can't work. And he said, I just have to get out of the way and the music comes. Now, of course, I'm not suggesting that it's a revelation for everyone and always, but I do think all ideas come from a source that is unseen and that we can all tap into, everybody has access to. That's my personal belief, So for me, it's a spiritual practice, and meditation is a big part of it.
I love that, Maryam. And you're not the first person to say that. And I think I have a very, similar feeling, actually. I know Elizabeth Gilbert talks about this. So
Yes.
there's a book you can read about that. Natalie Goldberg, she writes exactly about this as well. So I think that's a really lovely thing to have shared. Well, as you can hear, we're all very different writers who, approach things differently, which I think is a great lesson for all you guys too, is like, at the end, you got to do what works for you. So if you've heard on a podcast that discipline, setting 2,000 words a day is a thing you have to do as a writer, but you found it does not help your writing, just let it go. So I think all of us have tried different things over the years, have found different things to work. I'm a rebellious person by nature, so I do not like rules and discipline. I cannot set them for myself. But, you just have to find out who you are and what works for you ultimately, and come back to that play and that joy every time. Well, we are 5 Writers, 5 Minutes. Find us on YouTube or on your favorite podcast streamy thing, and you can listen to tons of episodes beyond. And we'd love to hear from you if you have any thoughts and suggestions for other future episodes. So see you guys later.
Bye.
Bye.